This is Orcs Must Die 3. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the videos. Subscribing is great as well. This is the third mainline entry in the Orcs Must Die franchise, which is a tower defense game where you play an active role in slaughtering the orcs, playing alone or cooperatively as you work together in order to destroy the hordes. You know, you with your traps, you with other people and your traps. It's really up to you and how you want to play Orcs Must Die. I highly recommend playing cooperatively though, because it is a blast to do so. But it's just as fun to do it by yourself. So this is a game that was originally available for Google Stadia. That's what got this funded. Thanks to Google for, you know, giving us this gem. And you don't have to have played the other entries to know what's up here. It's just more orc action. You've got a campaign where you kind of pick two different characters that have slightly different kind of killing abilities. And then you kind of go off and you play. You do the main missions. I do have a full walkthrough of the game online if you need a guide on how to beat any of the levels. I did that through Stadia. It's actually a pretty popular walkthrough for this, just throwing it out there. Anyways, yeah, so covered this when it came to Stadia, and then I did the Series X version, and now finally taking a look at it on the PlayStation side of things. I've been playing this franchise since the first one came out, back on the 360, I think like 2012 or something like that. It's been a long ride, and I'm a huge fan of the series. It's one of my favorite franchises that's a little bit, I would say a little lesser known, but at the same time, it is absolutely quite wondrous, and definitely worth kind of diving into if you're, you know, curious about what this is. So right now, it's just wholesale slaughter. This is kind of your opening mission. Sort of gets you, you know, into the beat of things, gets you back into the swing of it, lets you learn what you're doing. You know, shows you the ropes and everything like that. And then this game's complexity increases quite a bit as you progress, like the challenges, the scale of the maps. The whole point of it being on like Stadia in the cloud was that it could be like bigger battles than ever. So you get these absolutely just massive onslaughts of orc slaughtering and combat. And, oh, it's just spectacular. But the goal is to protect your rift, which is the rift icon in the top middle of the screen. That basically shows you how much like health you have, all the orcs that get through, slightly lower your rating, and the goal is to get the best level you can. There's different difficulties, so if you want to challenge yourself, you can create more complex challenges and difficulties for you to work towards, and to see how you can do things. And there's a whole community around like creating more complex setups for better traps, and yeah, it's kind of spectacular. If you're wondering about the quality of the experience, it's a dynamic 4K, it's 60 FPS. See, I did really good there with that, so I get skulls. The skulls will allow me to upgrade my stuff or buy new things to use, such as, say, the Brimbore on the ground, and then I can upgrade it to higher levels, so it does more damage and is more effective. It's you know, an interesting setup there, and then we can continue. The game also, like I said, you can play it alone or cooperatively with others. You can see how the maps kind of get a little bit more complex in their setup. In this one, it's got 2 doors, and later on it might have more. And then you get to like these huge battlefields where there's just tons and tons and tons of options in regards to what you're kind of fighting. Oh, I can have the sword. I love the sword. Anyways, yeah, you really do get to build some spectacular setups and scenarios. But yeah, it looks pretty good. A little bit clearer on the PS5 Pro. And yeah, it's kind of a great game, it honestly is. I love playing this, seriously. So the campaign, and there's like endless modes and other little challenge modes, other little challenge setups. So there's actually quite a lot of ways to play this game and engage with it outside of just doing the story type missions. It really is quite an impressive and expansive game. One that is very easy for me to highly recommend to anyone that's curious about this experience. Just because, as I said, I am incredibly fond of Orcs Must Die. It's really an endearing series for me over the years, and hope I'm kind of showing it off well. Like, just, oh, that was such a mess up by me. Oh, that was bad. That was embarrassingly bad. I apologize for that death. I'm glad it didn't take any rift points away, but it should have. But it should have, yep. Anyways, yeah, like, some of the later battles, like, you get to some just, like, grueling setups, where a lot of it is just, like, these massive onslaughts of orcs, to the degree that I don't even know if new players would be fully mentally prepared for that level of, like, insanity, because, like, some of it's just crazy, but a lot of the game, too, is also crowd control. So you get, like, barricades, and you can set up, like, archers to kind of protect areas, and you kind of funnel the characters in, and it's about having the most effective trap setups so that your traps do the work, and then you clean up afterwards. That's kind of the main goal of the game, is you are a secondary supporting individual. Like, if you do it well enough, realistically, you shouldn't necessarily actually be doing a lot. And that's a big part of the game, is being proficient in your delivery of traps in order to absolutely just, I love traps too, decimate all of your enemies. It's very, very cool. Like, I love the direction this one went in terms of, like, expanding the scope of it. It was so cool to see it eventually end up on other platforms like it has. I thought that was spectacular. Because, you know, just being locked to Stadia was fine by me. I actually really loved it on Stadia. I thought it was a great experience. Like, I think they nailed it on there. But, yeah, it makes sense that it would be able to ride on other platforms. And I think that's a great thing, because then, you know, obviously we're enjoying it today and showing it and talking about it. Which, to me, is really, really quite exciting. And I'm hoping people, you know, kind of check it out and embrace this game by taking a look at this. As I do highly, highly recommend this offering. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's also a neat game in the sense that, like, your characters are actually aging across these games too. Like, if you play Orcs Must Die 1, and then, you know, you go to 2, and then 3, and then, you know, whatever afterwards, you actually get to see kind of an aging progression of your characters, your core characters, which I think is neat, because a lot of other franchises, they really don't do that sort of thing. And it's kind of been neat to see these characters grow over the years and change. They don't have, like, the craziest amount of backstory, and, like, obviously you're not playing as the main character right now, but it tells you the story of, like, the main guy's kind of missing and stuff, and the other main lady, she's kind of handling everything right now, and it's just an endearing setup, honestly. Like, there's a whole little background thing to it and stuff. And kind of surprised you don't just keep playing as the main characters, though. If that makes sense. Like, I'm surprised they didn't continue to have a focus here. As you can tell, I've done my fair share of stuff. I'm not great at some of the higher levels, though. Some of those, like, later levels really, really cause some problems for me. Priestess. I need my, the barricades. Yeah, you gotta get to the barricades. Those are such a big part of the game. Where are my archers? Yeah, archers are, like, a big thing that you use too. Guardian archers. Yeah, I gotta unlock them. That's no fun. I want my cool, powerful toys. Okay, so the arrow wall, even more damage, and then there's extra little things, but we need to bump up the spike traps so that they're a little bit better, and I don't suppose we can do anything there. Okay, continue. Kind of rolling through this. You've seen some expert setups here, but, like, everyone also builds their setups a little differently too, and everybody has little different refined I guess you would say, ways of approaching enemies, and like, do you want to kill more of them before they get near you? Do you... Like, obviously, for me, I love layering my traps, so I just abuse the arrow walls and stuff like that, but... You know, you also got a future setup, too, where you're going to be like, well, there's going to be enemies coming down that hall later, you know, put everything up here, and not going to notice that. You're really going to actually literally sit there and think about the setup, not just your first turn, but every turn afterwards. And sometimes there's like flying enemies that come in too. It's not just these guys, and then there's like enemies that specifically target you, and oh, there's all kinds of complexity to this game, and the series too. And if you do like this, I highly implore you to go and play all the different entries in this series. It's really quite cool. First is solo, and then from then on it's differing levels of cooperative play. PlayStation also had, exclusively for its console, a competitive multiplayer version of this, but that's long gone now. Didn't really get to play much of that, which is a shame. Oh, and these little things, they move fast. See, this game really eases you into it.
Those are kobolds. They'll also set off our traps.
And there is a lot of lore, too, behind the orcs, and basically your whole goal is just to slaughter them. That's how you get your heroics on. Absolutely decimating them. It looks a lot clearer here. Like, it really does look really clear here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. You look at this guy getting by. See, the other problem too is they'll trigger all the traps, the little kobolds, and then it's less effective for your other people. See, now the other rift is opening. And notice how we don't have any defenses or anything set up. And it doesn't really give me a second there to kind of set this up at all. That's a little bit of a shame. I don't remember triggering that right away, but alright. Yeah, sometimes they just keep pouring in, sometimes you actually get a second. See, these kobolds, they could be quite a challenge. Okay.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
accidentally unleashed the horde right away. My bad.
The optimal spot.
Great. Because they're going to be coming from both sides that I'm not really ready. I wanted to put some more traps further back, but we'll make do. It's not too bad at these levels of difficulty setup. Yeah, it's not too bad here. Now, some of the later areas will also have like a little bit, maybe like it's a little bit more challenging on performance too, and the PlayStation 5, I understand, like those consoles in general, the base consoles had a little bit more challenge with some of the late stuff, and that should be a little bit more smoothed here by the Pro. See, it could be tricky. You really got to watch your like maps and your traps and your setup. I think the traps should take care of that guy. And then ideally, in case more enemies come, you really should on this one kind of set up back further, but luckily this one is still one of the earlier levels, so it's not as bad of a setup. Mostly your traps will kind of get things done on this one.
No better place than this.
See, they're actually kind of making their way across here. I love this series so much. Like, there's something about tower defense, which is a lot of fun, and there's something about mixing tower defense with, like, actively being a part of the action. It just makes it so much more engaging. And then there's all these other little things, too. Like, sometimes there's environmental stuff you can take advantage of. Some of the maps have, like, traps that you can unleash that are just part of the map, like a fixture. There is a lot of strategy behind this. It may not seem like it, but that's just because I've played quite a fair bit of this one across different platforms. I think I make it look kind of easy. I don't know. There's different, like I said, different difficulties too, so if you really want to crank it up,
Never been so happy.
you can, but this is just regular. There's an easier setting too. Nice. Yeah, what did I want to upgrade? Floor trap. I gotta unlock more kills to get to that next tier. Arrow wall deals fire damage. Piercing enemies. Yeah, I'll go for piercing. Oh, we can only have one. I kind of wasted my skulls on that. I totally forgot about that. I'm gonna refund that. No, I didn't want to refund the whole thing. Yeah, we'll go with that, and then you save the 5, and then you can use it for something else. Yes, quite so. My setups are fantastic. Oh, and it'll load so fast too. This is when things start getting a little bit more complicated. You really need barricades, honestly, for a lot of stuff. So barricades, a lot of the game becomes based around crowd control and like where you can push your enemies so they go in specific places, but yeah, this is the one where things start getting a little bit more complicated. And I guess barricades don't help here because you're still covering multiple sides, but if you've played a bit of Orcs Must Die, you'll know what I'm talking about with barricades and that. Alright, let's do it. But yeah, no, it's a great franchise. This game is fantastic. It's nice, clean here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Definitely check it out, play it, enjoy it. You'll have a lot of fun. Some of the later stuff will get a little grueling, and the challenge is fun. And endless mode is pretty cool to just kind of see how far you can kind of take it, and what you can do. And yeah, it's a great time and a great challenge, honestly. They're gonna start mixing in some of the more hardcore orcs and like variant orcs, because it's not just orcs. There's like other things that fight with the orcs. They're actually like a multifaceted society of crazy things trying to destroy you, which is quite interesting. Yeah.
Perfect placement. Textbook.
Textbook indeed.
This'll surprise them.
And there's different ways you can go about it too. You can do tar traps to slow them and stuff. It all depends on your strategy setup and what you want to create. Never know when those bad orcs are gonna come in here and cause problems. I just love that this series perseveres, honestly. I'm always rooting for this company. Seriously, I really am passionate about this franchise.
Another expected victory.
I love the cockiness of the defenders of the rift.
No better place than this.
You're gonna be coming from both sides. I like to double up on my traps, but yeah, I'm one person. You gotta move things around in different ways. Am I right? Try to get the best results.
More enemies on the way.
Just remember, orcs must die for the third main time.